a little entree with the salad. It is SNL, Landry Locker, Cody Stoots with you. Nick Caserio spoke today. Normally, that produces a large amount of
word salad.
But today,
word salad with a couple of like really nice croutons is usually what you get. But I thought we had a nice little buffet from Nick Caserio today.
Yeah, I thought he did his thing, and let's just hop right into the thing that I think most people probably wanted to know. We'll waste no time here on SNL. The Joe Mixon update, pretty specific. I mean, it was enough to tell you it ain't going to be no month.
Yeah, well,
yeah, it was enough to tell you that, hey, if you're expecting him to be back before the Titans game week 11, then you probably need to hold off on that. So I thought it was at least like it wasn't like a day-to-day thing. Well, I'll let you decide. I'll let the people decide.
Listen at the end there, because I think that's one of the important parts. Here's Nick Caserio and Joe Mixon.
Probably over the next few weeks, we'll probably have a better idea. He's making progress, so I wouldn't put a particular timetable on it. So I think over the next 3-4 weeks, probably get a little more information here, kind of see how he's progressing. But taking one day at a time. But I think once we kind of get to that period, probably have a better sense of which way it's going to go, for the duration of the year.
So no timetable, another reassessment in 2 to 3 weeks, but he didn't seem like real specific about that timetable of when they would reassess, and then it's how it's going to go for the rest of the season. So again, like we talked about the first time Caserio talked about Joe Mixon, there exists an opportunity that Joe Mixon does not practice and does not play for the Houston Texans this year.
Yeah, I would bet against it for sure. I mean, I don't even know. I don't like, when would they point to like an ideal return would be the question. I don't know. Maybe they want to make sure that there's something to play for. Maybe they're kind of looking at the 5-5.
maybe Joe Mixon wants to make sure there's something to play for.
Yeah, so maybe there's that, but we really don't know when we will see Joe Mixon. But I mean, we know that it won't be anytime soon. And I thought, you kind of questioned me saying that it was a decent detail. It was more than we typically get on Joe Mixon, I guess I should say.
That is true, because previously it was under lock and key, and they basically were doing the like legal, yes, Joe Mixon works here, but they couldn't tell you anything else. At least today he's making progress, and then over the next 3-4 weeks, get a little bit more information and then see how he's progressing, and then make a determination for the rest of the season.
Yeah. So to answer the question, I would say we probably don't.
Congrats to Nick Chubb and Woody Marks for being the 1-2 punch for the Texans for the rest of this year.
Well, maybe, because Nick Caserio is kind of sounded somewhat open to the trade deadline. This was what Nick Caserio had to say about potentially making a trade during the deadline with the extra picks.
We'll look at it, have some flexibility. So there's always a cost. Do a cost-benefit analysis, not to get into big economics discussion, but that's a part of it. So if you're going to give something up, what are you getting in return? Are you comfortable with that decision? What's the cost from a contractual standpoint? Some of those types of things. So try to maintain as much flexibility as possible, so we're in a decent spot. If there's a situation out there that we feel makes some sense and it works out, great. If it doesn't, then okay, there's nothing we can do about it, and we're prepared to handle it, with the players that we have here. So, we're getting close here. You're starting to see a little bit of jockeying. Teams are losing players. The trade deadline's called up, 3-4 weeks away. So, again, I know everybody gets excited about the trade deadline, and typically it ends up being more of a whimper than anything else. But you never know. Every year is a little bit different. So, always be open-minded. I think that's the one thing I think we've shown. We're open-minded, be adaptable, be flexible.
All right, so the trade deadline.
Extra 2 and an extra 4 is what the Texans have, by the way.
If you were looking at the trade deadline, like, what would you want them to go out and acquire? Like, if you were,
I'm glad you asked, because you can't ask about the trade deadline and not have some targets ready for them to go get.
Yeah, that would be my question. Like, who would you exactly want them to get?
I would want them to go and add a starting caliber tight end.
Okay.
And the name that comes to mind is David Njoku. He's in the final year of his contract. The Cleveland Browns are not going to be in contention anytime soon.
They also have his replacement in place, and Fannon's playing good ball.
And they have a player that not only can take his place, has kind of already taken a lot of his workload in Harold Fannin Jr. So, for Cleveland, okay, do I let him walk and get a compensatory pick for him down the road, or do I get that pick, this year? Can I get a selection this year? And so, with it being an expiring contract, I don't anticipate a guy like Njoku being too expensive. Now, I would think most of the league is thinking the same way. If they need a tight end, they're thinking the same way about the guy that you and I are. But I'd like to see them go add a tight end because it didn't sound like Cade Stover was coming back anytime soon. And I know we saw Harrison Bryant do things, but Njoku's better than Harrison Bryant.
So I have a guy that I want. I'll tell you after we hear Nick Caserio give an update on guys like Cade Stover, non-Joe Mixon updates. And then I have a guy that I want that I'm keeping an eye on. It might not surprise you.
Okay.
Yeah, Reed and Autry started practicing here last week, so I would say they're probably closer to playing than some others. J-Rock, probably, after another week or two, probably be available here at some point to practice. Jimmy's making progress, probably a little bit further out here, but he's been in the building working. And I think right now there's a little bit of gray just relative to Watson and Stover. At some point we'll see those players, probably not as definitive as it is with some of the other folks, Kurt as well. So, we have some depth kind of off the roster in some different categories. So, at some point when those players are available, the expectation is they're going to be ready to go here at some point, be able to help the team.
Okay.
It did sound like Stover's right around the corner or anything.
J Rock, huh? That's what we got. J Rock. Okay.
I'm telling you, man, that building, the only person that liked that, the only people in the football world that liked Jalen Smith more than the Texans was USC. And they might not even liked him as much as the Texans like him.
And Snoop Dogg.
And Snoop Dogg. Yeah. They love Jalen Smith. Frankly, I'm dying for him to come back to see if he can live up to the fact that they don't even call him Jalen Smith. They just call him J-Rock.
Tremont Smith's doing a good job holding it down right now, but we'll see how it goes. There's rumblings that he might be the fastest guy on the team, which we'll see. And maybe we'll never know. But yeah, he has good energy, but yeah, they obviously traded up for him and we didn't really see that coming. So there you go. He's got the nickname. So I mentioned before the trade deadline, you said starting caliber tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And do you look at this as a chess move where maybe he's your guy after this year when Schultz's deal is pretty much done too? Do you look at this as a chess move or do you look at this as a rental?
Well, if you got Njoku in the building, you could then make a determination if you wanted to extend him before he hits free agency. I would think a guy like him wants to hit free agency because tight ends good tight ends can make a little change in free agency. But you could certainly make an assessment and understanding of where you are with Njoku if you wanted to. And if it's another tight end that's under contract, yeah, he's a guy that factors in with Stover for the future. Njoku specifically, I would probably get him in the building and try to extend him. Yeah.
My guy would be Breece Hall at this point. I think the running back, and this would be a chess move. I mean, I think you go into next year with Breece Hall and Woody Marks as your 1-2 punch. I would still draft a back because I want 3 or 4 that can make plays. But Breece Hall was almost a Texan. Many of us believe the Jets ended up jumping up. He's publicly said he doesn't necessarily like the way that things are heading there. He's a second round pick, so there's no 5th-year option. So I would say Breece Hall with the Jets right now winless, and they're already talking about tanking. The running back depth still concerns me. I still think you could use Nick Chubb, but I think if you add Breece Hall to this mix, and then you have him and Marks, I think that helps you this year, and I think it helps you next year. So I do look at it as a chess move, and I do look at the Jets as a team that's a dead team walking, and I don't know that Breece Hall is going to be a part of their plans. So I didn't think it made sense in the offseason before we saw the Jets play a game. Now they suck. Breece Hall would be my guy.
I like that for a lot of reasons, most notably because Chubb to a lesser extent.
You know what? They don't have enough Iowa State guys on this roster either.
Yeah, he's a cyclone.
They haven't quite met their Iowa State quota yet when it comes to Iowa State guys on this roster.
He's a cyclone. Yeah, exactly. The cool thing about Breece Hall in there, the cool thing about Willie Marks in there, and Chubb to a much lesser extent, but they do from time to time. If Hall's in there, if Marks is in there, you're not tipping your hand on what you're doing. You could throw both of them the ball. You can run the ball inside with both of them. You can run the ball outside with both of them. I know they throw the ball to Chubb, but most of the time, if Chubb's in the game, he's pass blocking or they're running with it. But I love the lack of a hand tip with Marks and Hall as a duo for the offense as well. And I think Breece Hall is very good, and probably haven't seen the best of him because he's played for a very crappy football team for the past couple of years.
I don't think we've seen close to the best of him, and I actually think next year I could easily see them being open to potentially even signing him if they don't trade for him, which makes it all the more. I'm pretty certain that Nick Caserio likes what he's working with, and I'm pretty certain that DeMeco Ryans and Nick Caley can be easily sold on it as well. So Breece Hall would be someone that I would think about. Let's go to the super chat.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Shout out to everyone here. Little Nick Caserio word salad / little entrees here on SNL. The Nick Caserio state of the buy. Sean James says, afternoon, gents. The yard sale is improving.
That's Sean's nickname for Nick Cayley.
Wags,
he is improving.
Wag says, is Mixon under contract next year, and does he get paid being on the NFI list? I'd rather continue to develop our RB group, Chubb and Woody minus DP. Chubb is, I just don't count on counting on Chubb for much from week to week. I think his value is fine, even if Breece Hall were to be here. And I know he's not a part of next year.
Yeah, I would think that the Nick Chubb experiment is a this year only, and you use him sparingly, and you trust Woody Marks. And if you had another body and another back that you trusted, you could, even more sparingly apply Nick Chubb in those situations. As far as Mixon's contract, the non-football injury list allows them to go after the money. It doesn't. They speak positively about him. Or at least I would say that the way Caserio talked about him today was not like, it wasn't like that guy can't help us, or, so I don't think they're going to go after his money. And you save like $8 million if you get rid of him. So, to your point, Landry, if they made a trade for a running back that was on the roster next year, you save the $8 million and repurpose that somewhere else on the team. Yeah.
There's an out in 2026 where you can get out pretty easily from it. And the other thing is, look, man, he's 30 years old and he's coming off an injury. A
season-long injury. Not like a I banged my knee up and I couldn't finish the season. Like, he hasn't practiced football this year, and he seemingly has a chance to not play football this year.
Yeah, so I would definitely be open to it. Beep says, is Harris alive? 3 years now. I think it's been 2. 2023 was actually okay. He is alive, and DeMeco insists that it is a week-to-week thing when it comes to that.
Harris.
Christian Harris.
Oh, Christian Harris.
Oh, yeah, you've already forgotten who he is. Okay. We got to all right, note to self, full government when talking about Christian Harris. He is already out of everybody's mind.
He was active 2 weeks ago, so it's like, I didn't know. I thought there was I'm like, what am I not, what part of the roster am I not understanding here?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. SSG says Jonnu Smith or Alvin Kamara.
Here's what I would tell you about Jonnu Smith. The first place Pittsburgh Steelers are not trading their offensive coordinator's favorite tight end.
Oh, God. Arthur Smith wouldn't trade Jonnu Smith for freaking Tyler Warren.
Yeah. So Jonnu, I would think is not available. Alvin Kamara is a weird one because he's got like the Saints have been like kicking his contract down the. They've been like kicking his
down the road.
Yeah, and so he's got like a weird contract that I don't think you want to sign up for that.
Do you think that Jonnu Smith gets free FedEx?
Yes,
easily,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Arthur Smith's dad, if you didn't know, founder of FedEx. Rest in peace. Arthur Smith, how many zeros does he have in his bank account? Probably more than any NFL coach, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a job.
The FedEx story, I don't know how true it is. Really not.
Crap.
The FedEx story about going to Vegas for the weekend with the last dollars of the company and coming back with enough to operate for another week is a fun story.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Cody McMullen says, was live at Ravens and stadium was empty early. Shout out to you. That's a nice road trip to make.
So it's not just Houston.
Sean James says, use the TDECU debit card on Njoku's extension. You know what? That's a hell of a time to tell the people about the TDECU credit card. We weren't even planning on this. Is Sean a plant? We'll let you decide. The answer is no, though. But the TDECU Texans debit card is absolute greatness. And they got the fresh new logo up there. And Cody, tell them what you get when you sign up.
I don't know if the Texans can get 15% off a new contract, but you can get 15% off brand new Texans gear from the Texans online store and use that TDECU Texans debit card. You find all the information at tdecu.org/Texans, and you get signed up. Look at
that pretty thing.
Beautiful debit card.
Look at that pretty thing right there.
Landry's talking about CJ. I'm talking about the debit card.
No, I'm talking about the debit card.
But can we get a TDECU football too, by the way? Look at that thing. That's sweet. Yeah, look, your credit union is not just a slogan. They mean it. All the different perks and advantages that you have when your money's with TDECU far outweighs the other places that you've been putting your money. Not only do you get the 15% off your Texans gear, your new Texans gear, hat, jerseys, car emblems, whatever you may want to buy from the Texans online store. You get all these other benefits and perks for being a member at TDECU. Membership's required, insured by the NCUA. TDECU.org/Texans to find out all the information.
And now Sean's getting accused of being a bot by Gio. Not Sean. Sean just knows how to do it. Shout out to Sean, big Sean. And Zach also adds, with the TDECU credit card, you get 20 cents off a gallon at Buc-ee's. So that's not all they got to offer. So shout out to them.
Telling you. The perks.
We never hate.
Swarm.
Wag says, we trade Alpha Aaron.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron here.
To the New York Jets in a 7th for Breece Hall. That would be a good trade. I don't know how Aaron would function in New York, but that would be a good trade.
Aaron Glenn would yell at Aaron.
DeRhino says, I would work on getting Breece now, not wait. He's in London, so probably gotta wait a little bit.
I would think that of the players, as you kind of look at the landscape, he's probably one of the more notable players that feels like he could get moved.
I would agree. Dio Central says, signed my Juice and Titus apology form, playing well. Okay, so you're already there.
Wow.
There you go. Dominic Castillo says, hey, bros, the running game looked great.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron here.
There you go. Okay. So it looked nice.
I mean, imagine how nice it'd look if you had Breece Hall into the mix.
More from Nick Caserio. Let's talk about the offensive line. Nick Caserio provided his assessment of the offensive line, which appears to have definitely improved from last year. But he gave his assessment of the offensive line, and then he actually went even more in depth later on. But here's what he had to say about the O-line.
Overall, that group's done a pretty good job. So we had some moving parts early in the season. When I got hurt there Thursday before the Rams game, then we had to shuffle things around. So I think the group that's been out there over the last however many weeks, they've played pretty good football. Ed's done a pretty good job. He's played really good football. Sometimes a change of scenery is good for everybody involved, probably in that situation. I mean, he's played good football. I mean, I don't know, he's like one of the top-ranked guards in the league or something ridiculous. I'm not saying he's the best guard in the league, but he's played good football. So Titus has played competitively. You know, Jake's done a good job. So, you know, Lakin and Juice have kind of rotated in there a little bit at left guard. And I think the more that Tay has played, the better he's played. He's made some, call it, younger player mistakes, which that comes with the territory. But it's a good kid, good attitude, builds on some of the things that he continues to do well. So, I mean, overall, the group has worked well together and making progress.
All right, so we'll hear more from Caserio on that in a sec. But my favorite thing about the offensive line, at least just with the words that they speak and the actions that they show, which is probably more important, is that it's not bullshit anymore. Like it's not what it was last year where Kenyon Green's playing okay, people are too hard on him, blah, blah, blah. Shaq Mason's a good guard, veterans, all that type of stuff. Like there's a little bit. Now, Caserio did say to me that they had 4 starting tackles, which I kind of pushed back on, and he kind of re-emphasized a little bit. But
I think he meant to say previous starters.
Okay, yes. And I took it as you have 4 guys that you feel comfortable starting. And that's why I asked. So you feel comfortable. Let's just hear it, because there's kind of a weird different ways in which they discussed the moves that they made. And it kind of created a talk about the Cam Robinson trade and the tackle depth. And I like going back and forth with Nick.
With that, the best interest of the team. Y'all say that when y'all make moves, but with Cam Robinson, it was he wanted to play more, so it was in the best interest of the player. How are those two things aligned, especially where you might be a little more thin with the depth?
Yeah, I mean, we have 4 starting tackles in the building, so right now, including Trent Brown. So, I mean, Cam's situation was, again, take all the information, evaluate it, and then in the end, make the decision that we feel is best, you know, for the team and everybody involved. So it's no different. Our philosophy is the same. So have discussions, have dialogue. D'Amico and I talk about it. In the end, whatever we feel makes the most sense, that's what we do.
Blake is a starting tackle right now.
I'm saying we have 4 tackles that have started in the NFL. Is that accurate? Is that not accurate?
Yeah, I was just asking.
I'm saying we have 4. Yeah, we have 4 tackles. Blake Fisher, Trent Brown. I mean, Trent started 100 games in the NFL. So I'm saying we feel good about the people that are in the building. So, you know, that's what we decide to go with. So each week we'll evaluate it and figure out what makes the most sense.
I don't think he was like. I think he was upset that he misspoke, not upset about your line of questioning.
No, it does. It's all good. Like I like Nick. I like Nick fine. Like he will, like we will talk like off press about shit I say and stuff like that. It's not anything big. I just wanted, like, the whole point I was making. I wasn't trying to be trite, but the point I'm making is everything that they've done, and this goes back to the actions, and this is why I like their actions on the offensive line right now. Like I just said. I agreed with Caley last week, even before the game, that I thought the offensive line was improving. I agree with that. I like the way that they didn't hesitate. Well, they did a little bit, but they eventually benched Lakin Tomlinson. They got Juice Scruggs in there. So I like those actions. And along those same actions, they've shown you they want to do everything to not play Blake Fisher at tackle. Like everything that they've shown you, from giving him a chance to start at the start of the season to moving Titus Howard back to right tackle instead of putting Blake Fisher at right tackle, the actions have shown you that they don't really want to put him on the field as some sort of starter. So that's really what I'm asking, is because Austin Deculus late in camp was ahead of him as far as like the left side and even the right a lot of the time. And Cam Robinson is damn sure ahead of him on the left. And then they move Ursery to the right when Cam Robinson comes in. So that's my whole point, is you feel comfortable starting Blake Fisher in a ball game because I've personally respected the actions that they've shown. So this is really beyond the words. And I still don't think that trade made sense. And I hope it doesn't bite them in the ass. But that's really all I was trying to get out of the Blake Fisher question.
You would agree, though, if you had more faith in Trent Brown, you'd understand making the move a little bit more. Not totally, but a little bit more. You just don't have faith that Trent Brown could play if he had to.
No.
Yeah. I have a little bit more faith in Trent Brown. I don't know that I have the faith that Caserio has in him, where he's like, oh, yeah, he started 100 games. Yeah, well.
Yeah.
He has, yeah. No, that's true. 96, and he's a Pro Bowler one time. They won a Super Bowl one time with him at left tackle. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't – look, when we bring up the Cam Robinson situation, we're worried about plan B, because plan A is hopefully Titus and Ariante Ursary are healthy.
Look, I've said if you roll around without insurance and you don't get pulled over, you're good.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're hoping. But that's tough. That's tough to do in this league.
They've got insurance. It just doesn't cover much. It's true.
Yeah. But, I mean, he basically hinted that he's comfortable with the tackle depth, which, okay, I'm not. But, okay. Like, this is
I hope we don't find out.
Yeah.
I hope we don't find out.
This is as good as they've probably felt about their grasp of the offensive line in a long time. So, hey, they're feeling themselves right now. I'm just kind of a little bit hesitant to
This is probably the best tackle play combined. I'm not saying it's great. It's certainly serviceable enough, but it's probably the best tackle play combined between the left tackle and right tackle combined their performance since Tunsil and Fant were the two tackles.
You know what I was thinking about? And I don't know if you've said this or not. I know you talk more offensive line than I do. And shout out to everyone in the chat. We'll get back to the soup in a second. We'll get back to some other interesting things that Caserio said. But I wonder if Titus Howard is just better in this system. You know? Yeah, because think about it. Like, we haven't brought this up, but we look at the path of Titus Howard's career, and 2019, he was okay, right? Like, he had a really good rookie season, I would say.
Yeah, I thought he was solid.
2020, he was okay. I mean, it started getting a little bit rougher, but the low points of Titus Howard have been the previous two seasons, right? Like, that's where it was like really, really bad, where he wasn't playing well, and then Fant came in, and then he was playing, and he was playing bad. But even before that, in the oldest system, they felt comfortable enough to give him the extension. So his performance before, like, they felt okay enough to give him this extension. Then they don't believe that he's a long-term tackle. We don't believe he's a long-term tackle. He doesn't really think that he's going to be a long-term tackle. He moves to guard, and then all of a sudden he goes back to tackle, knock on wood, and he's playing pretty well. So I almost do wonder if maybe Titus Howard is just way better in this type of, I know Nick Caserio says it's not a copy-paste, but the foundational New England system.
Well, Titus was one of the guys, kicking dirt on Bobby's grave, on the way out the door.
Yeah, I think that was kind of obvious.
So not, probably wasn't the biggest fan of their operation and some of the things that they asked the tackle to do. And, Titus is performing. But it's also worth noting, and if you follow our buddy Texans Cap, he's kind of just like put a little like, hey, put a pin in this, watch it for later. Like, this is essentially a contract year for Titus Howard.
This is true. This is the Cody Stoots contract theory, which better Dalton Schultz too.
I mean,
this is true.
It's essentially a contract year. He shows up. He's in great shape compared to the previous couple of years. He's playing really well. He said and did all the right things till he got the opportunity to play right tackle, because he was just better than the guy that they wanted to play right tackle. And now he's out there kicking ass on his way to potentially a big payday. Like, yeah, the system might be good. And you know what? The bank account, he might be looking at that and saying, yeah, this could get a little bit bigger if I have a good year.
And I also think there's no offensive lineman that was more influenced by Tunsil negatively than Titus Howard. I know they're boys. I just think he tried to move like Tunsil, and he's not Tunsil. I think he's there's easy buy-in there, and I did not think that it was as good of a pairing.
Correct.
Fair or not. Back to the super chat.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Two-piece from Wags. Could we use Trey Burke at tight end? D'Amico can fix him.
Trey Burke.
And then he also asks, do you like seeing Fisher in big package plays? Pause. I guess. I mean, it's fine. I don't think it's terrible. I did not like when they ran to his side and they got stuffed. I think it was before the British Brooks 4th down play. I'm not sure, but they didn't run to the heavy side with Blake Fisher. I guess he's fine doing that.
Is he talking about Traylon Burks, the former Titans guy?
I don't know.
No, that kid did nothing with Trey Burks, and I think the Blake Fisher, tackle eligible, like I think that goes away when Cade Stover's back.
Logan Taylor says, Stoots, we getting a Will Fuller sighting on SNU. Yeah, what's going on there?
I have a last known number, and I'll be reaching out.
Yeah, reach out. Just tell him we just want to just see what he's up to for 5 minutes. Let him know how popular he is. Just want to know what he's up to.
I think there could be a longer conversation than 5 minutes. I think we could.
Nah,
Will Fuller.
He's kind of a hardo Jersey guy. I've interviewed him before, but that was when he was there. So yeah, I would be down with a little bit of Will Fuller stuff. Let's hear some more about the offensive line from Nick Caserio. A little additional assessment of the most polarizing position group in Houston.
I mean, they've improved. So, I mean, Titus has played really good football. I mean, we haven't really talked about Titus, but, I mean, he's probably played as good a football as he has at any point in his career. So, a lot of credit to him and respect. I mean, he's literally played all 4 positions other than center, and he's done a lot for the team. So, Ed's improving. Jake's done a good job. Jake's been out of football, for a couple of years, so he kind of taken advantage of his opportunity. We talked about Tay a little bit earlier. So, I mean, we drafted Tay in the 2nd round for a reason. Thought he was a good player. Put him out there at left tackle, and he's played some good football.
Well, I tell you what, if I was Titus Howard's agent, I'd clip that and I'd have that ready for this week. I'd call this week and see if there's a contract extension to be had. I mean, shoot. He's played his best football? Okay. How about a new deal?
Just hold off, Nick. Just don't do this again.
I think hold on. I think I follow Titus Howard's agent on Twitter for some reason. Who am I, Alpha Aaron?
What are you? Are you going to tag him next time he has like a good shot?
I should put that clip up.
Alpha Aaron here.
I should put that clip up on Twitter and then tag the agent.
No, you should not.
I'm going to tell Aaron. I'll be like, Aaron, you should put that up and tag the agent. You think, bro? Yeah. They love that.
Let them know.
They love that.
Know what's up. So obviously the Nick Caley thing's gotten a lot of attention. Nick Caserio has known him for a long time, so I think he probably has a soft spot for him.
Hold on, before we go to Caley, Caserio he got very annoyed by Jonathan Alexander about the offensive line.
All right. I liked it. It was a good back and forth.
I thought the
because Jonathan basically said they went cheap on the O-line and weren't interested.
Yes, you did not spend as much money on the offensive line as other teams that needed offensive linemen. And why did you opt for the players that you opted for? And he and Caserio had a little back and forth about it. And then Caserio's answer was not where I thought he was going. I'll tell you where I thought he was going. But this is what he had to say about their financial investment or lack thereof in the offensive line.
I think we have to be careful about making assumptions that there were players that we didn't have interest in. So, I mean, look, I'm on the phone, like, during the course of March, we talked to everybody. So I would say we were interested in a lot more players than maybe the picture's been painted. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So if you don't acquire a player, then you pivot to the next option. So, I mean, I wouldn't say there's anything, like, different in our approach. So, again, I'm not sure who those players are, who we're exactly talking about, like what the perception is of, like, who's a top-tier player. So, I mean, I think kind of beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So, again, we've been interested in a lot of players. We've made attempts to acquire a number of players. Sometimes it works the way that you think it's going to work, and then you got to evaluate the market and figure out what makes the most sense. So, I mean, that's the approach that we've taken since we've been here and hasn't changed. And I think I'd be careful about just making an assumption of what our level of interest was or was not in certain players.
All right. A little snappy.
I thought he was going to say when he started to talk about the free agent offensive lineman. I thought he was going to say, be careful thinking that big money means good player.
But I would agree with that.
I would also agree with that too, to an extent.
But I don't think that like there's like a victory lap going on right now with what they did at O-line.
Well, I would say this. The O-line right now is acceptable. It could very easily in 3 weeks be very unacceptable.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, improving is very subjective. Like improving is very, I mean, not subjective. It's very like, there's a very low bar.
Right.
There's a very low bar, like the improvement. I'm not trying to reel it back in too much as I like talk about. I like the decisions on the offensive line, but I will reel it in a little bit and say there wasn't a very high expectation for this offensive line to improve in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, they're not the Eagles.
They could still be bad and improve. They could still be really bad and improve, actually.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like they're not the Eagles. They look like the Eagles compared to last year's offensive line, but, you know, you could find 5 slappies across the league that could probably produce a little bit better than last year's offensive line. That's how bad it was. So, the O-line is acceptable until it's not acceptable. And then when it's not acceptable, you start to ask a question again, like, okay, how did we get here? Why is a failed second-round pick your starting left guard? Why is a waiver claim from March your starting center? You know, why did you go with a rookie, second-round pick at left tackle? So on. Like, you start asking more questions. But, you know, if they keep you know, pushing the direction they're heading, like, they could be acceptable for a long period of time.
Spanky's Pizza, we want to see you there 17th. Normally we've been going every other month, but it's going to be the 17th and 31st this month. You can get the half and half pies, which Cody did. He got a half barbecue chicken pizza with a half regular pizza. You can do that. It's handmade. It's from scratch. The menu top to bottom is great, from the tater kegs to the wings to the pasta to the new chicken Alfredo lasagna, the bar. They got the 2 rounds of the drafts. They got a new hurricane that they just added to the menu. It's awesome. We'll be there the 17th from 3 to whenever. We want you there. We'll also be there on Halloween the 31st. So it's been a nice crowd. We might ask some people if they want to roll out there with us. We tried to get Sam Warren out there, and he's just being a weirdo. Like, it's like, Sam, come on, man. We're trying to introduce you to the crowd, and Sam's just being a weirdo. Sam Warren from the Chronicle. Hit him up on Twitter and tell him quit being a weirdo.
So a couple things about Sam. One, I really like his film breakdowns that he does each week.
Yes.
So it's worth your time to go and watch. He puts it on Twitter and at Sam Warren _3 on Twitter. He also has it online. When we invited Sam the other day, he said, "Oh, well, tell my boss to give me a Friday afternoon off." Okay, well, you shouldn't have said that, because I know who your boss is. And I'm sending an email next week. And I'm going to say, we want to have Sam on the show. Yeah. Can you allot him the time from his workflow to come hang out with us at Spanky's?
You can grab a laptop and sit there and drink and eat, Sam, if you want. Yeah, do it. I've seen people do that at lunches. I've seen people just whip out the laptop.
Hey, bro, Alpha Aaron here.
So, yeah, just do it, Sam. We'll see you there. Spanky's. And if he won't be there, then most of y'all will, and we look forward to it. On Z Super Chats.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
The great HD Traveler. HDAV. Afternoon, Landry, Cody, and friends. Afternoon to the man, the myth, the legend. The guy that likes to roll with 2 wheels. HDAV. Wags says, can I be a fly on the wall and see this free agent target list? Wonder who was on it. I don't believe Tomlinson or Ingram were the best options. Nick did mention the Ed Ingram PFF grade.
I have some bad news about the Ed Ingram PFF grade.
Uh-oh.
Some bad news here. Okay. Ed Ingram is no longer the top-rated offensive guard in football.
Okay.
He's dropped all the way down to number 2.
Okay, well, there you go.
Still very good for a guy that you basically sent a late round nothing pick for. And you know what's it happens everywhere when a guy leaves a team, even if he wasn't good. And it happened here if Kenyon Green had played well in Philadelphia. Like, why'd we ever get rid of that guy? Vikings people are mad that Ed Ingram's not on the team because their offensive line's gone to hell in a handbasket with injuries and all this other stuff. And you got people hitting up the Vikings people that cover the team, the SNL of Vikings world, so to speak. And they're like, why did we ever get rid of Ed Ingram? He's awesome.
Well, it's nice to see, at least for now. It's getting really good. So Nick Caserio talking about the offense and perhaps a change that went down. Here's Nick Caserio kind of confirming that maybe there was a change.
It's evolved. So anytime any of us are put in a position for the first time, you're going to have to deal with some ups and downs, and it's a learning process. So we've all been there. I've been there. Nick's going through it. You look around the league, there's a lot of coaches that go through that, but got a good attitude, taking the right approach. There's always a little bit of give and take, and, well, you want to try a little bit more of this, but maybe that's not the best thing for the team. Hey, maybe we're going to shift our focus a little bit here. So Nick's a smart guy. He's been around football for a long time, seen a lot of things. I think we've made some adjustments and modifications as we've gone. So we've talked about this. You probably figure out kind of what you have with your football team over the first 4 to 5 weeks. So, we have kind of 5 games in the bank here a little bit. So figure out what we're doing well, what are some of the things that we can build on. And Nick's done a really good job.
I mean, CJ's comments last week about
This is your theory. Don't bury this. This is your theory. Don't bury this.
we have tremendous evidence that they had to adjust Nick Caserio. Like they had to step in and help Nick Caserio. We have lots of evidence about this. The biggest piece is DeMeco Ryans giving up play calling duty. While DeMeco Ryans has never explicitly explained why he did that or what he does.
He's never said he was helping the offense. He's never said this. That has never been said.
But I can put the context clues together and take a pretty educated guess on what was going on. So,
well, you can also watch and realize what needed to happen.
Right. So, DeMeco Ryans, the way that CJ Stroud coming out of Tennessee, where they had some good stuff on the offense coming out of Tennessee. And when CJ Stroud gets asked about the offense, it gets asked about Nick Caserio and kind of finding a groove. He's like, yeah, we're trying to find the balance between what we like and what Nick Caserio likes, and sticking with what he does and what his standards are for the offense and what's easy and familiar for us. And then when Nick Caselio's asked about it, yeah, we have those conversations, and then we come together and find out what's in the best interest of the offense. And it's like, oh, okay, so it did feel like the first 3 weeks this dude was in a unescapable hole of it has to be this way. And then when they changed some of those things, be it DeMeco Ryans told him, CJ asked for it, CJ demanded, whatever led to the change, when they adjusted some of those things, the offense looked better.
And they played crappier teams. I'm sure people will push back on.
And again, these 2 weeks that we've have of offensive success from this team, they will not matter if the offense goes back to sucking.
Yeah.
But if the offense goes to Seattle and continues to look like a capable NFL offense, and they go into the 3-game homestand and they continue to look like a capable NFL offense, we can look back at the end of week 3 and the start of week 4 as sort of a genesis point where they adjusted things for Nick Caserio. And it's important because they couldn't help Bobby last year. Bobby failed. And whatever they tried to do to fix it.
Well,
damn it, Bobby.
I'll be fair. Maybe they failed Bobby. Like maybe the word evolve is like maybe they should have helped Bobby get out of that hole. Like, and I'm not sitting here saying that to say that Bobby, but I mean the word evolve, and I think to add to your point, evolve means change. So when Nick Caserio says that Nick Caserio is changing, like that by definition and by his literal words, he's saying that there was a change. Like that's what evolve means. Evolve literally means change. So you look at that, and it's not like we just saw the offense perform better and said, "Oh, look, he's changing." No, the coach stopped calling the defense, and Nick Caserio used the word evolve, and we saw that they were doing different things, and there were different ideas, and even the run scheme looked different. So I think your theory there, it's not always the case with all the theories that we throw out, but I think your theory there is pretty safe and confirmed.
And that was a conversation point from them for the first 3 weeks was, well, we didn't execute. We didn't do this. And it's like, hey, the players didn't do this. And like, that was the excuse after week 1, headed into week 2. It still didn't look good. After 2, headed into 3, still didn't look good. Well, another change you can do is make things easier for the players or put them in situations they're more comfortable. Okay, well, if you do, and then it takes off, do more of that. Find out how you can meld that and mesh that. And look, we were promised no square pegs, round holes. Well, it felt for 3 weeks like they were doing square peg, round hole crap.
Yep.
And then it didn't feel that way when they got going in the Titans game, and it damn sure didn't feel that way against the Ravens.
Fact. On the soup, one mortal two.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
So if Miko gave up play calling last year, could he have saved Bobby, or was Bobby a lost cause and Caley had more upside? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they did, but I mean, when you maybe they've realized that you can't just leave an offensive guy on his own. Like maybe they learned something, and maybe they look back. Like I don't think DeMeco like maliciously looks at Bobby Slowick. I think the way that DeMeco is built, as stubborn and as much of a curmudgeon as he can be, I think he is accountable when it comes to coaching and when stuff goes wrong. So I do wonder if DeMeco looked at the way the Bobby thing went down, someone that he's been coaching, he coached with for damn near a decade, like from 2017 to 2020. He coached with him for 7 years. I do wonder if he looks back and says, damn, what could I have done more to help Bobby Slowick? And maybe that's when he sees the way that Nick Caserio getting started, and Nick Caserio is perhaps as married to the New England system as Bobby Slowick was the San Francisco system. Maybe there is an adjustment. I don't know. Maybe it's a natural thing that Nick Caselio's done. Maybe we're giving DeMeco too much credit, but the fact that the tangible change is there, maybe.
Well, yeah, I don't know if he could have fixed Bobby or not. And I would estimate if he felt like he could have, Bobby Slowick is still the offensive coordinator, and maybe there's a different option in the building, waiting in the wings behind Bobby. But it feels to me like they moved on from Slowick because they didn't feel like it was going to ever get any better than what it was. Look, one of the best defensive play callers in football giving up defensive play calling is a pretty drastic measure if indeed he had to do that to help the offense. But if it worked, so be it. Sometimes you need to do hard things and drastic measures to make things work in the NFL.
Yes, for sure. No doubt. Tay says, thoughts on the lack of effort from Chris Jones. I didn't really see it. Like, were they showcasing it, or are they saying like maybe he should have touched Trevor Lawrence on the
slip?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. If there's anybody that could take a couple of plays off in Kansas City, it's that guy. They put the defense on his back for 5 years.
Yeah, I'm surprised he can still walk. I'll say this. Do we want to touch on the Jags and Colts at the end here? Because I have some kind of thoughts on that. We'll get through Caserio, and then we'll talk about that game last night in the Jags and the Colts, as well as, damn, someone got a job. But first, let's hear Nick Caserio talk. I don't know if he's really taking much pride in this job, though. He might as well be serving some humble pie in the cafeteria. Here's Nick Caserio talking about Z quarterback CJ Stroud.
I think the last couple games, he's played the position the way the position's supposed to be played, made good decisions, been efficient. He's completed 81% of his passes, hasn't turned the ball over. So, the reality is, and he said, I know, everybody gave him birthday wishes last week. He's 24 years old. He's still a young player. So even though he's played a lot of football, so you learn by doing, you learn by playing. Each year is going to be a little bit different. Each opponent is going to be a little bit different. Every situation is going to be a little bit different. So he's played pretty good football here the last few weeks. The most important thing, he's taking care of the football. So, go back to the Jacksonville game. We lost a game because we basically couldn't take care of the football. So if you take care of the football, you're going to have 75-80% shot of winning a game. So It's hard for, I would say, young players and quarterbacks to understand that, but the ones that take care of the football the best are usually the ones that play the best.
Yep. Yippers.
Man, they hate turnovers. My God.
Yeah, but it's their crutch. Like turnovers and getting behind the sticks. It's just their crutch, and they blame everything. And he even caught himself kind of where what the pushback would have been in the eye roll with the whole, well, y'all won the turnover battle against Tampa Bay. Y'all actually won the penalty battle against Jacksonville. So like they just have these natural crutches. Like that is word salad. Like that is a soggy ass word salad that Caserio provides us with, and D'Amico does it too. But like they'll blame it even when it's not the reason why they lose. So that's the whole thing there.
He early on in his one of his earlier answers, he said the number one stat that correlates to winning and losing is the turnover margin. It's not though. Like
it's not.
The Chicago Bears are 2-2. They have a +5 turnover differential.
Yeah, it's overblown, I think, at times. You know what's not overblown? My backyard, Texans turf. Texans turf is the best. It's the best in the game. My man Dan, I just talked to Dan. He needed a vacation. He just took a trip to Spain. That's how. Yeah, he just took a trip to Spain. My man Dan, and if you know Dan,
you sure it was a vacation? You sure he wasn't putting some turf in for some rich Spanish football player?
It was actually his. It was the turf. His turf distributor sent him to Spain. That's how good of a job Dan does, and he is a blue collar guy. No matter what your yard looks like, he's not going to turn down any job, and he's not going to try to rip you off. I know this because I was a customer before. So shout out to Dan, the man. Texans turf. I cannot wait to be able to go in the backyard with the fire pit going during football season, preferably a Saturday before we go to the game on Sunday. And I know that my daughter's going to be safe. I know my dog's going to be safe. I know my house is going to be clean, and I know it's going to stay fresh. Stays looking fresh. I've had it for a few years now, and it's one of the best things that I did. Drainage, check. All that other stuff, check. They got you covered. Best prices. Shout out to Dan the man, TexansTurf.com. Let them do for you what they did for me and what they've done for a lot of big ballers around Houston.
Yeah. Look, you own a business as well, and you got some land that you don't want to take care of it, and you just want to have the turf out there and always green, always clean. They can take care of that too. TexansTurf.com. You can see the portfolio. You can see all the beautiful work that they've done for a variety of different people, from homes to putting greens to play areas to businesses. TexansTurf.com. You can get that free estimate scheduled up right there on the website.
Yep. Shout out to Texans Turf, the greatness that is. Nick Caserio, I respect a good sports analogy, man. I really do. But
I knew this might stick with you a little bit.
I want to tweak something that he said, and I just want to change the sport, Nick. I just want to change the sport. And I think if you change this analogy, which he used 3 times today, I think he'll be a better general manager because of it. Again, you don't need Corn Ferry. You don't need to hit up any of your dumbass old Patriot bosses. I got you covered here. Next time I talk to you, I'm going to get this to you. Matter of fact, he's on with Sean and Seth tomorrow. I'm going to text Sean and ask Sean to throw this proposal his way. I'm going to indirectly ask that. This is Nick Caserio talking about missing on free agents, and he went hockey.
Team building in and of itself, there's nothing that's guaranteed. So say NFL players, maybe you have a little more information based on relative being able to see them play. Draft players, there's some risk involved. So honestly, you really don't know how it's going to go with any player. The reality is we're going to take shots on goal. Some shots are going to hit, other shots are going to miss. So, I mean, I would say it doesn't really change. The overall team building philosophy, it's never linear. So nothing is going to work out perfectly each time. So you're going to take some shots. Things will work. Some things won't work. So in the end, our job is to evaluate. D'Amico and I talk about the team literally every day. Do we feel is in the best interest of the team and the organization, and just keep pressing forward? And that's where the focus is going to remain.
All right.
Shots on goal. You didn't like that?
No, because shots on goal, you're just doing it to get it like to the goalie. A shot on goal, there's not much thought that goes into it. You're just trying to get a shot on goal. Sometimes it ricochets and you hit it in. Let's line up a putt. Okay? Like let's put some thought into our free agent moves. Let's maybe instead of just taking a shot on goal at camp. Let's like sit here and maybe look, maybe get a caddy, maybe get like a caddy to come over here and look. And then maybe like, maybe when you're about to putt, maybe even step back and reassess the situation. Let's get some quality putts instead of just shots on goal. Because quite frankly, the analogy makes perfect sense with the way he does some of this stuff. Nick, you're not like the worst GM, but it does feel like you're a hockey player just trying to get a shot on goal sometimes when you do this. So let's take the shot on goal and let's make it a putt.
Well, and here's what I like about a putting analogy. One, golf's expensive and free agency is expensive. So I like that. Two, you're not going to play as good at golf if you don't spend the money on a nice course. You go play a Muni versus a country club. You're not going to get the same quality. Same thing with free agents sometimes.
But you can find some gym country clubs.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then finally, sometimes you can line the putt up, make the read, strike it the right way, and the ball just doesn't go in. Sometimes you sign free agents, it's the right move, it's the right guy, and it just doesn't work.
This is a fact. Just change it up just a little bit. Logan Taylor says Colts record is embellished. They play crap teams. Let's get into that. So the Colts and Jags, 2 4-1 ball clubs. Now, the Jags, it's kind of hilarious because they probably should be undefeated. Their only loss was when Joe Burrow got hurt and Jake Browning threw 3 interceptions and they still found a way to piss that game away. The Colts, they're 4-1. If you want to acknowledge appropriately so that the Texans haven't beat anyone outside of that Denver game, which some would argue, although I thought the Colts were getting hoed early, that Denver got away with one with the leverage call. Outside of that, they've beat the crappiest teams in the league. They've beaten Las Vegas. They've beaten the Giants. And I think
Titans.
The Las Vegas, the Titans, and
the Dolphins.
And the Dolphins. So the Colts, you kind of got a question as well. Where are we at when it comes to the 2 teams the Texans are looking up at in the division?
Look, last night, I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, well, the Chiefs just pissed it away like it wasn't a good game by the Chiefs. The Chiefs had a really bad performance, though. They had so many special teams penalties. Their linemen fell down when Trevor Lawrence fell down. Like, the Jaguars should not have won that football game. There are things to be said, though, that are scary about Jacksonville. Their defense seems to be pretty solid.
I would say right now, if they voted, I would say Lloyd,
the defensive player of the year.
Yeah, he's the defensive player of the year. I don't even think it's a question.
He's playing. I don't know if he is, but right now he's the best linebacker in football. He's playing like the best linebacker.
He's got 4 picks, right? 3 or 4. Like he
leads the league in interceptions.
Yes, and he was good in the draft. He ended up sliding. So I agree with that.
They did all that last night too without Trevon Walker, who's one of their better pass rushers. And I know he's not ever been Aiden Hutchinson, but he's good. He's a good football player. And they've honestly, Landry, it feels like they're starting to actually figure out how to use Travis Hunter, which it felt like they didn't really know what to do the first couple of weeks, but they're starting to kind of figure it out a little bit. And he's been a good player for them.
Did he cramp? That had to have been a cramp, right?
Yeah, because he came back in, I think.
Yeah, he came back in and made a damn play. It looked like one of those, like he pulled, like it was a soft tissue type joint, and then he's right back out there.
Yeah. So I actually feel like Jacksonville's actually better than the Colts because I trust their defense a little bit more, and I think the floor of their offense is a little higher.
See, even when the Jags are having that big win, there's just still signs of wild ass like Trevor Lawrence. Like it's actually kind of insane. Like you could say that was maybe the drive of his career, and it was. I think Daniel Jeremiah described it as drunk. Like that was the drunkest game-winning drive of all time. I agree with you. Jacksonville's good. They're not bad. They're good. I think the ceiling is limited because of the quarterback. I don't know that they possess a superpower, although their defense is playing really good. So I acknowledge that. My biggest takeaway from yesterday that like matters in the big picture, Kansas City's going to be a mofo when they get Rice back. It's going to, I mean, that is going to be it. I don't know what the odds are right now for Patrick Mahomes to be MVP. It might be the best odds you can get. I would probably bet that right now because he's figured out when to run, and when they get the weapons back, they're going to be scary. I think they're going to be scary with the speed that they have. And
that's an organization that if they feel like they are, a player or two away, they'll go make a deal.
Yeah. So that was my biggest thing there. I think Jacksonville's fine. The Colts, I've said this, they're last year's Vikings. There's a limited ceiling. And I look at it, and even when the Vikings were playing good, you can make a case they were the third best team in their division. And I'm not as quick to say that the Jags are better than the Colts because I do think Jonathan Taylor's one of the best running backs in the league. He's starting to do it. I do think Tyler Warren, I cannot believe the Bears let them get Tyler Warren. That is absolute insanity. He is a problem. And I also think their defense is okay. So I'm not too dismissive of the Colts, but last year the Vikings, like, they were the third best team in their division, even when they were playing really, really well. Like they were if you put a gun to the head, and the imaginary gun I always mention, and you're talking about the Vikings, even when they were whatever the hell they were, where they had the best record in the league, you still would have said, well, the Packers and the Lions are better. Like, and they are more equipped to make a run. So I look at these two teams, and I think they have limited ceilings. Now, the question really is, as we put our eyes back on our own papers, is what are the Texans? And I think we figure that out in the next, goes back to 4 or 5 games where that Jags, like if you get the split of the Jags, then that kind of changes things a little bit. And if you beat Denver, San Francisco, or one of those, then maybe that changes. And if you go to Seattle, then I think all bets are off. I think we completely reassess things if they're able to go to Seattle and get the job done. The interesting thing, Stoots, is I don't know what the record is to get into the playoffs, but last year there was only one 10-win team. And those of you that listen to the Locker Room stream, you've heard this. There was only one 10-win team that didn't make it to the playoffs. It was Seattle. This year, there's only 7 teams in the AFC through 5 weeks with a winning record. And 7 teams make the playoffs. So this almost feels like a 9-win type of get into the playoff type of year right now. It's wide open right now.
And by the way, you play the Buffalo Bills, you play the Los Angeles Chargers, you play the Denver Broncos, you play the Kansas City Chiefs. You can win the tiebreaker against the Jaguars. You're going to need some help, and you're going to have to obviously beat them. And you could still win the tiebreaker against the Colts. Like all those teams that could be in the wild card conversation with you have opportunities to play a lot of those teams.
And well. Let's also be completely honest. I'm not one to make excuses for the Texans, and I'm not even including the Jags in this. I'll put the Jags to the side. The Texans and Colts right now, they're basically lined up and they ran a marathon, and the Texans had to have an 80-pound vest on their back while the Colts just got to glide. Like the schedule that the Colts have played right now, like at this point, it's pretty pathetic, especially when you look at the actual stuff. Now I'm a big Shane Steichen guy, and he almost won a division with Gardner Minshew. So I don't think the Colts are just going to completely fall off. I think Jacksonville and Indianapolis both look like playoff teams. But if you asked me, like, would you rather bet on just one of these teams making the playoffs, or would you like to do a parlay? I would say that just one of those teams makes the playoffs and the other one falls off. And I don't think it's going to be Indianapolis. I think Jacksonville would be the one that I think would kind of even it a little bit.
Lawrence has a significant injury history. He could get dinged, and he's very reckless with his body a couple of times when he goes out there and run and stuff like that. So he's got a shoulder injury history. That's something to keep into account. And yeah, your point about the Colts schedule, it really doesn't get hard till the late November stretch. And then, it could be, I don't know if it will be, but it could be a pretty difficult schedule starting in late November. Chiefs, Texans, Jaguars, Seahawks, 49ers, Jaguars, Texans. So it could be tough. Couple of gambling updates for you, just a couple of little look arounds. Some places you can get Mahomes at 6-1 to be the MVP right now.
Give me 100
nice.
on that. Give me 100 on that.
Pretty nice. There are some places that are not currently offering Lloyd as an option for defensive player of the year.
So you can get other.
So you can get the field, and that'd be 2.5-1. So pretty decent odds there. Obviously, the Mahomes ones are better odds, but sacks are tough because some guy goes on a big sack streak, and the next thing you know, everybody votes for him over defensive player of the year than Lloyd.
Man, this is stupid. So the one I'm looking at right now has a regular season MVP. Okay. Because there was offensive player of the year. And I was like, dude, forget that BS. Because they do that corny stuff where they'll give it to like a running back or something. All right. Mahomes at 6-1. I'm in.
Offensive player of the year right now is, I would think is going to be Jonathan Taylor, with the chance that Puka Nacua, takes it from him.
I'm in. 75 to win. 75 to win 450. Mahomes.
That's a very good wager.
Actually, I'll make it 80. 80 to win 480.
Very good wager. Somebody asked, where is Will Anderson for defensive player of the year? 16-1 right now.
Yeah, the way Mahomes leads them in rushing, dude.
16-1 for Will Anderson. And I'm looking, Derek Stingley's listed as an option, but doesn't have any odds right now. So
Baker's the favorite right now, and I would actually be very happy for Baker Mayfield if
Caserio called him the MVP to this point.
Yeah, but he did it to justify a missed tackle. I don't know if D'Amico likes that. I bet D'Amico, because I heard D'Amico when Caserio was rolling out there. Did you hear him?
No, what'd he say?
He said, just go up there and smile. Like you could hear him like yelling it. They're just kind of messing with each other.
Just a quick look while we're here. Defensive rookie of the year, Abdul Carter, little over 1.5-1. And offensive rookie of the year, Emeka Egbuka is even right now.
Kyle on the chat says trade a second for Breece Hall. No, you don't have to do that. I don't know. I mean, I know you have the extra second. I don't know. Give them Joe Mixon. They eat his cap hit. Don't think you can trade him right now.
Yeah, I don't think the Jets would do that for you either.
Yeah, that would be kind of a.
I would be interested in sending the third and getting Breece and a late pick back.
Yeah, and I mean maybe they want Christian Harris or something. I know that's weird, but I mean maybe Aaron Glenn can get a look at a defensive player.
You're trying to get that stock up however you can.
Nah, there's fine print.
This country's this business is resurfaced in a new country.
There's fine print in my stock. I get my my pennies back if he gets traded. So
you get
got a hell of an insurance policy there.
There you go.
So we heard from Caserio. Let us know what y'all think. Reminder again, Spanky's Pizza Sharpstown on October the 17th and the 31st. We want to see you there. 3 to whenever. Shout out to everyone who's made it out there. We love it. I love the food, man. I really love the food. I eat the food even when we're not doing this, and I love the people. I love what Frank has made out there. But we got other news. CJ Gardner-Johnson. He is on the Baltimore Ravens practice squad. How about that?
That's exactly what Baltimore needs. That guy.
CJ Gardner-Johnson bringing some fire, bringing some edge. CJ Gardner-Johnson, Jair Alexander, what could go wrong?
Hey, if people in Baltimore didn't know, CJ Gardner-Johnson won a Super Bowl.
Yes, he did, and he will let you know.
You know who our buddy Baltimore Bobby called me. He's like, "What's the deal here? What happened?" And I filled him in. He goes, "Jesus Christ!" I was like, "Yeah, exactly." I was like, "Here, look at this." And I sent him DJ's article about all the misplays. And I go, "Here, look at this." And I sent him Alpha Aaron's article about criticizing the contracts and all that kind of stuff. He was like, "My God, that thing was a disaster." I go, "Yeah, he was. That's why he's not here after 3 weeks."
Maybe he'll enjoy it in Baltimore. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm sure he, Mr. I want to get a ring. I'm sure he feels great about being on a 1-4 football team's practice squad.
Yep. Practice squad. He does not. I doubt he likes that title. So it is what it is. Beggars can be choosers. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Tonight in the locker room, I'll get into the back and forth with Caserio on the system. It was long. It was like 5 minutes. So I don't want to. We ain't got to bog it down here. Save some content for a little bit later. We'll get into that and a lot more. And it's bye week. We got you covered. I'm going to Vegas. Cody's going to the State Fair. We'll still have an episode dropping for you on Friday. We'll record it and we will make it as loose, as fun as possible. Matter of fact, if you got suggestions for topics, we're not above any suggestions. So send those. And we got you covered. We appreciate y'all for rolling through. See y'all at Spanky's the 17th and the 31st. We'll be live tomorrow and Thursday. We're not signing out, just giving you a warning for Friday. And always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.